the relationship, the things we do, and everything. So if that is the case, so we cannot even say that there is any physical experience, but that because the one who experiencing is spiritual, and that's how we interpret everything. If we are really deep understood the spirituality, then everything is based on the spirit, nothing else. But what does that mean? Everything is interpreted or understood in a spiritual basis. You know, the spirituality is experiencing or realizing the self and acting from the space of the spirit or the soul. And that means we always have to be peaceful, loving, and joyful. But unfortunately, at this moment, we all are not like that. We are sad. We are so, we have a lot of resentment, judgment, and a lot of fears, a lot of sorrow and suffering. And this actually is, we self-sabotage ourselves by being attached to something, because we understood that all this suffering comes from the object of attachment. So that is what, again and again, it comes the point that attachment and emotion, because these two, you cannot see them separately, because emotion will erupt because of attachment. So we are not experiencing our true self. That's why we are in suffering, because of the attachment, whatever attachment we are into. So what must we do? You know, in the truth, we are benevolent, we are loving beings. But why we are not like that? Because no one told us how to practice or how to touch that part of the truth and really express the self. And that's why there are so many different types of spiritual practices. And you might really wonder which one will work. But we cannot say that this will work, that will not work. But for some, one of the practice will work, and the same practice might not work for someone else. Like people, they say, or try to bypass all these emotions or transcend the emotions and practice and experience the true self. And it works for some, it might not work for some. And in our practice also, we are contemplating and meditating, and we connect ourselves with the deep true self. But how do really we know that this thing is working or not? You know, when we don't have that emotions frequently, then we believe we understood that we are really growing in our awakening. Because, you know, at some point I heard that our Brahma Kumari's head, she was asked by one of the reporter in UK, and 17 years you guys are saying that you are studying Now, that time she was 70 years in knowledge. In 17 years, you are saying that you are studying. What are you studying in all these years? And she answered it in a very, very powerful way that just who am I? And in a spiritual journey, the only thing actually we contemplate again and again is the point of who am I? So to go to the depths of to understand who am I, we all try to use so many approaches. And one of the very powerful approach is to really be aware that you are a spiritual being and you are not this physical being. So consciously, we have to let go of our names, physical bodies, same position, possessions, in very conscious way, trying to unwrap or really release all these physical identities and where to watch that what actually will remain. And this sincere practice will help, by the way, somehow to understand the self and at the same time to be aware of the self. And that is the time which we understand that there is something which is very profound, very powerful beyond all these physical experiences. Mostly, we are so much seeking from the external world to get some kind of experience of peace, joy, love, and happiness. But this seeking or this really finding out a source of support from the external really makes us so much dependent. And at the same time, we don't really experience that joy, peace, and happiness in the fullest context. So that's why when we let go of all this seeking and identifying the self, then we come out as love, as peace, which is very powerful, and it has its own experience also. You cannot even tell to someone this is the experience, but when you experience it, you can see how much it is really, I can say it is out of this world, like, because there are moments for each one of us. For myself, there are moments which I feel that, especially when you are really in meditating or being in present and let go of all the past and the futures and really focus on the present time. And these are one of the practice, also some sorts of practice, but at the same time, I practice this and meditate and contemplate and focus on the present moment. That means the energy, the clean energy in me. Then for a few minutes or, you experience that complete freedom, complete sense of joy, and complete compassionate feeling. And all this really is an experience which each one of us, we have to practice and see how we can do it. Otherwise, what will happen is, Mike says that our uncle, like the emotion which is which is hidden, which is not dealt, or it erupts from time to time. and really disturb our life. So we need to also to deal with it. So the dealing with it, yesterday also you talked about it with Sister Belinda, how we have to deal. But the main point is watching and seeing it as it is. No need to react, no need to be frustrated about the emotion when it erupts, but just observe and sincerely see it from your deep, loving, pure space. That means you shine the light on the darkness. And just like he put an example also, he says, you know, the fog on the mirror will be dissolved or disappeared when the sun shines onto it. The same thing, this in our consciousness, these emotions, when they erupt, what happens is when you stabilize yourself in that deep, peaceful state and see it with that consciousness, action, not with resistance or not with frustration. Just see it with that energy. It dissolves. It dissolves frequently doing that, and you will find out that it's really will go from its root, because the root is in us. That's why it will erupt. And it's said that we are acting autopilot. That means our conscious activity is very less. Our subconscious is governing our life. That means our previous habits, tendencies, and the way we do things, which is in our subconscious, is really govern our day-to-day activity more than the conscious thinking and conscious analyzing and trying to act. So that's why meditation is very important. This thing is which is really hidden in our subconscious, or which is there in our subconscious, which governs our life, will only be dissolved when we are deeply contemplating and meditating. And that deep contemplation and meditation will transform the subconscious. So this understanding is also very important, because sometimes we might struggle in a very conscious level to do things, but that conscious level becomes a bit superficial. When this happens, I will do like this. When this happens, I will do like that. But it's very important. The soul actually operates mostly from its subconscious level, and there is also a deep one, a super conscious level. The super conscious level is completely our true self, but to access that, we have to accumulate more of powerful, positive, and true way of life by contemplating deep and meditating. So these are some of the tips which we have to see how to deal emotion on a spiritual level, because otherwise we are fighting or suppressing or thinking that the reason is external and try to deal with others' emotions or other physical things to change for my emotion to change. And definitely it becomes so difficult, or it cannot be possible to transform my emotions. So, do you have any question before I proceed? Someone, all right. Do you have any question? Is that clear? Or is that clear? Okay. If it is clear, it seems that the silence is acceptance. So I can explain also one of the powerful thing which actually help us our love in action, that the benevolent feeling for everyone and for everything, when it really comes out, and trying to practice that benevolence and in our relationship, in our connections, and that will replace the seeking, like the we were seeking, we are really trying to get from outside. But what will happen is when you really start to become more benevolent, is you are giving, you start to really extend yourself to other souls that love that peace which is in you. And this practice will help, the sincere practice of this giving will help the emotion to dissolve. Because the more I practice my true nature or my true energy, and that will help my emotion to subside and even to lose its power and really to be out of our way. Because what Mike says is, what is in the way is the way. So what is in the way is the way means that that emotion is the, when we are really properly dealt with it, it is that is the way to reach to that complete sense of joy, complete sense of happiness. And now I will make you to practice somehow in quietness what Mike wants us to practice before we are going to the question and answer part. You see, the practice is just, I'll open a classical music. Which will really help us to deep listen and contemplate. Sorry. Okay. Now, let's really deeply think about this point. Sit comfortably, sit quiet, watch quietly what is occurring in your mind. In the quietness of this gentle process of observation, notice what wants to disturb your quietness. It will be a stray thought or a turbulent emotion or perhaps a dark memory. As soon as you see it, allow it to pass. It will pass quietly if you allow it. If you resist in any way, it will stop. Stop passing. Smile at you and start to suck your energy as it makes one big, obviously loud noise within you. Stop and allow yourself to be quiet. Even in the midst the noisy jungle of your thoughts and feelings. Shanti. Yeah, even if it is a bit rush, but maybe some of you have the books, but otherwise, maybe if you connect with me, maybe with my email, I sent the full practice. So, okay. Is there any question? Okay. If there is no question, I would like you to do this contemplation and meditation together with me, because I believe the most important thing is not really the knowledge, what we are really seeking or accumulating, even though it is important, but the very important thing is we have to practice this contemplation and having silence time and connect with the self, because that is the only way most of the spiritual healing will happen. So please sit comfortably, quietly. and ask this question of who am I? I ask these questions so many times. Each time I feel I see myself as a deep, pure, lovely energy. I am a peaceful, conscious, lovely being. The energy of love. I noticed I attached and identified myself with my citizenship, profession, name, from time to time. I find myself to defend, protect these identities which is created now in my deep contemplation. I understood what I created as my identity. I can have the capacity to destroy or dismantle this created identity. This only happens when again and again I ask myself, who am I? I am a pure consciousness. I don't have any physical identity. I am that I am. I am a spirit and energy. I feel that complete sense of freedom, peace, Om Shanti. I am a peaceful soul. Shanti. Okay. So now we have time to ask any question, or also maybe you can give your ideas and suggestions. No suggestion, no idea. Okay, thank you very much. Welcome. Anything else? We want to get some understanding also from you. Okay. If there is nothing, thank you so much. See you next time.